8 minutes here. You live in Roy for 3 years. So he has a burning desire to connect the Puyallup community. Something we did not know about Keith. I think he's fibbing here because he says he really doesn't like ties. But every time I see him, he's wearing a tie. Also, his superhero is Chewbacca because he admires his hair from Star Wars. And his key to success is connections. Keith firmly believes in connections. I'd like to introduce Keith Brashear.
Thanks, James. And I was so excited to start talking that I forgot to let you talk. So thanks for coming down from the A-team and doing the introduction. You said you were going to talk about Star Wars and ask me about characters, and then you said you don't understand how you can be flying and running in the forest. Have you ever seen Return of the Jedi? I got a. What? Where's your land? Your speeder bike. So, that's un-American. Get on your speeder bike and you go flying through the forest with Olaf the Wonder Dog. All right. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about printing, and then I'm going to talk about how much of a difference in my life B&I has made. So there are things that you know, but there are also things that you don't know. And so the example I like to use in this little saying is riding a bicycle. And when you're an infant, it's an unknown. You don't even know what a bicycle is, so how would you know that you don't know how to ride it? But very quickly, you come to your toddler ages, and you realize that all the big kids are riding bicycles. And it's a known unknown. I know that they ride bicycles. I don't know how they ride bicycles. And you get on a bicycle and you try. And pretty soon, you know how to ride a bicycle. Everybody in this room is in another state where we know how to ride a bicycle, but we don't even know how we do it. We just get on a bike and we just ride. The point is, you all know what your business, your service offers your customers. Yet, for most of your potential customers, you exist in the unknown world. They don't even know that you're available to help them. And the reason is, in 1950, in your house you had a set of encyclopedias and a subscription to the World Book. And there were 3 local newspapers and you had a subscription to one of them. And there were 4 local radio stations, and you listened to one radio channel once in a while and listened to a little bit of a mix. And you had a national magazine, there's 4 or 5 national level magazines, and you have a subscription to one, and you're pretty much keeping up with all the information that's available in the world. Because they're all telling the same basic story, just slightly different biases, right? And then the 1990s come along, we have 200 channels of cable TV, and nobody can put channels fast enough to keep up with all the content. And then we turn on the information through the highway. And there's tens of thousands of new web pages every single day. And no one's reading that content. So in 2020, right around the corner, there's massive amounts of blue information available in the world. And your audience is listening to this. Our challenge from a marketing perspective is to get your message into the window where the person that it might affect is actually listening. The point of relationship marketing, which is part of business by referral, is the face-to-face contact that we are having with people in our environment and hearing the key words that they're saying and knowing Christine has that capability to help you with that problem. Because when you're marketing and you're sending out a message, you're hitting them in the blue band between blue and the red, and they're not even hearing you because you're just part of the noise in this massive information environment. All right, how am I doing on time? I'm right at perfect. All right, so about half the room has been here less time than I have. I almost was going to do this as who wants to raise their hand and say, I've been here. I think you've been here a long time. I haven't been here a long time. I've been in business about, this is August 8, right? 18 months, 19 months. I've been in BNI effectively that whole time. So here's my testimonial, my thank you to the membership committee from last year who actually allowed me to be a member of this. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You got what I'm saying. Because BNI chapters are looking for someone who is an expert in their field. And you all took a risk with me and said, yeah, we're going to let you join anyway. Right? So I took a year to try to figure out why I was even in business, and what I'm doing, and what my service that I provide. And I would not advise any younger member of this organization, this chapter, to do what I did, which is wait a year before you start studying what BNI is. Because as I entered year number 2 of my time in business, and I started actually following the continuing education portion of the BNI program, I started seeing things that I had been doing wrong, one, but direct advice on how to fix it. And so Dr. Meisner talks about don't have a network that is a mile wide and an inch deep. I can assure you, for anybody that has been paying attention, I'm not that important. You're not paying attention to what's happening in my life. You're dealing with your own problems. I have a network right now that's a mile wide and an inch deep, with a couple exceptions where I'm deep in with a couple people. I deliberately changed my secret to my success on my introductory sheet, because I used to have it say, my secret is relationships. Well, the fact is I'm pretty much a transactional kind of person. I don't have a lot of deep relationships. But the way I was successful in the Army is my boss would come to me and say, such and such a unit has a problem in this subject area. You need to tell Fred, you need to go to Fred, find out what the problem is, and you need to fix it. And I would go talk with Fred, and it would take me about 35 seconds because I knew what was happening on JBLM, Autonomous Military Base, and I knew who could solve those kinds of problems. And I would say, Wilma can solve your problem. And I will get on the phone, I say, oh, Wilma, I'm sending you an email. I send an email to Wilma, and it's courtesy about Fred. Wilma, solve Fred's problem. And I turn around to my boss and say, boss, the problem's solved. Because I knew those two people, and I knew they would fix the problem. We didn't have to spend any more time thinking about it. The way I work is I help you find the connections to solve your problems and solve your customers' problems. Keep the cheers being impressed.
Thank you to both of our speakers, a seasoned member and